Hello, Jenny.
Hello.
Hello. Hello, Hans, Alia, and Aki.
Yeah,
how are
so
you?
nice to see you.
You're
What
so
time is
far
it
away
in
in Stockholm.
Stockholm?
Right now is noon, we're 12, and it just snowed recently, so
Oh,
it's
that would
right
be
outside of
so
my window right now.
pretty. But no, Jenny, why did you choose to continue your study abroad?
So I've worked in Indonesia for 5 years before continuing my study here in Sweden. And I felt like during my professional experience, I feel like there are many things that I encountered in business in Indonesia that I would like to change for the better. And I didn't necessarily have the right skills and competence to pursue that change. So I decided to take a career break and study abroad and train my skills and deepen my knowledge, specifically in business and management from one of the best business schools in Europe. So for me specifically, there's a lot about environmental sustainability and corporate social responsibility. I feel that Sweden is the right place where I can learn from the best teachers and the best companies in regard to this topic.
Wow, I mean, it's not only about luck as well, but how you pursue that is something that everybody wants to know. So could you give us some tips on how we can go abroad and study, whether you get a scholarship or maybe you go on your own? But there is sometimes, a specific tool belt that you have to have just to make sure that you're prepared to go abroad.
So I can elaborate the tool belts, but what I actually always say, the first and foremost tip that I always tell people is to know the reason, to know why is it that you want to study abroad. Because pursuing a higher education degree in a foreign country is not easy. So if you want to have fun, explore a foreign country, I would suggest to just travel as a tourist, because when you're living and studying far from home, there will be times where things are tough, where you are full of doubt and disappointments. And you have a strong reason why you want to do this. You can always go back to your motivation and remind yourself why you are pursuing this journey.
Yeah, that's a strong reasoning, right? So when you're in doubt, go back to your focus. Why are you even there?
Let's say we need to have our own purpose when we decide to go study abroad, let's say for the master's degree or even for the PhD.
Oh yeah,
when we go
PhD,
to
I never
the
thought of that.
Yes.
PhD.
When we talk about the PhD degree, it's more complicated and longer journey compared to the master's study. So Chani, our next question, maybe you can give your tips talking about besides good academic result. What are the other typical requirements for studying abroad? Maybe for your study case when you choose your campus right now in Stockholm, Sweden.
Right, so I think it really depends a lot on where do you want to study. But the first thing that you really need to do is to master the language of instruction. So for me, it's English, and for many other institutions in the world, it's English. But there are also opportunities to study in universities that don't use English as their language instructions. It's French, for example, in France, and Japanese in Japan. And the other thing is really to prepare yourself for the standardized tests that are usually the requirement of the university, because it's actually not only difficult, but it's actually expensive to take them. IELTS, TOEFL, GRE. So, you have most one chance to ace it. So really prepare yourself. And again, if you're in doubt, just go back to the reason why you want to do it in the first place.
Again, when in doubt, just go back to the reason why you did that in the first place. And also in the first place, I thought you were speaking Swedish because you're actually in Sweden. And also, probably, Chani, it's not always the flowery times when it comes to studying abroad. What are actually the common problems encountered when applying for studying abroad?
I guess when applying, going back to what I said earlier on the standardized test, you really have to prepare for it. And the second common problem is funding. So some people are fortunate enough to be able to afford the tuition fees from universities abroad. But for a lot of people, for a lot of Indonesians, you really need a scholarship grant to do it. And in order to pass the selection scholarship, you really need to prepare yourself well. Like, first, again, know your reason, but also align with the scholarship giver. So like make sure that what you want is aligned with what the organization wants for their scholars.
Right, interesting, Hans. Remember, please align your propose with, let's say you want to search for the scholarship, so you need to align it with the giver, yeah, from the scholarship funder. That's important, because funding is one of the main issue beside the language that we have to prepare.
It's actually the main issue.
Right.
The main issue. And also, probably we want to ask you about this Indonesia Mengglobal, or Indonesia Goes Global, right?
Yes, Indonesian Global is a very unique name, Hans. And can you tell us, Chani, the meaning behind it and how does it affect the education system in Indonesia?
Yeah, so Indonesian Global is a non-profit that's 100% run by volunteers. So it was established in 2012 by a group of Indonesian students from Stanford and Harvard University in the United States, who felt that there is not enough resources for Indonesians to learn about these opportunities abroad and to prepare themselves for the application, but also the scholarship. So they created a blog called www.indonesianglobal.com. And since then, we have published thousands of articles on the website, conduct many seminars, events about engagement, inspiration sessions about studying abroad, as well as a mentorship program that we do every year. So we match between Indonesian students or alumni from the world's universities to mentor young Indonesians who are interested in pursuing their higher education abroad. And most importantly, all of the offerings, all of our activities are free. Because our volunteers are a community of people who just want to give back to Indonesia in the best way that we can.
That sounds really cool. I mean, you are there at the moment, but I mean, all of the other members are probably, some of them are in Indonesia, and you have a lot of programs going on. But how has it different during this pandemic? Is there any differences? Because it's not as easy as before the pandemic of people, for people going abroad.
So it's really interesting actually, because before the pandemic, a lot of our events were conducted in person, and largely in big cities in Java. But during the pandemic, as we had to switch our events to online, we actually realized that we were able to reach a wider set of audience outside of Java and outside of the big cities. So we are actually very excited to continue our online events so that more Indonesians, wherever they are, can benefit from our programs.
Right.
Does that also include people who actually have education, from maybe abroad institutions, but doing it online from Indonesia, despite travel restrictions and all that? Does Indonesia Global also have that? Some members that do that.
Yeah, absolutely. We have, so in starting the pandemic, we had a theme of celebrating resilience. So we are sharing stories from Indonesians all over the world who, for example, they just moved abroad and then they had to take their classes from their dorm room. So they're like, for example, in Australia, but they can go outside of their house. Or some of them, for example, got scholarship, got the degree or the program, but then they have to stay in Indonesia until their visa got out. So I think a lot of it have resulted in mental health problems, in a sense that like you have a lot of health and you have a lot of in addition to the global pandemic, the situation is really affecting how people are, their spirits and their motivation to go ahead. So I think that in the past year, since the pandemic, we actually have issued or published a lot of articles on our website, for example, on tips on how to maintain your mental health and also how to motivate yourself, even though you're stuck in your room studying.
Hence the time difference. If you're in Indonesia.
Particularly during the pandemic. So our final question for you, Chani. On this International Day of Education, what are your messages and hopes for Indonesian children who dreamed of continuing their studies abroad?
Yeah, so I want to say that and dare to dream. So we all have different circumstances, We all have different starting points in life, but regardless of that, whoever you are, education is the key to a wider world where you can pursue your interest and realize the change that you want to see in the world around you.
All right, Arnachani Riaseta from Indonesia Mengglobal, thank you so much for your time to share with us. And also probably this past your lunchtime. I hope that you had your lunch before this.
That's Swedish
Swedish
meatballs.
meatball.
Swedish meatballs.
I thought you were gonna say
Yeah.
that.
High five.
Yeah.
High five from that, Alia.
Wait, how do you say the Swedish meatballs in the original language? What's the original
It's
name
not
of the
bakso,
Swedish?
definitely.
Bular.
Shabular.
Köttbullar.
Chef Buller.
Oh, is it because it's like a bowl?
Like a
No,
Buller.
do not make any assumptions.
No.
Johnny, thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Take care.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Wow.
Thank you. Bye.
Köttbullar.
Dare to dream.
Dare to
And please, if you join my scholarship, for example, there are no age limits. So
No age limit.
yes, I have one colleague from Brazil, and she was 67 at the time.
67.
Yes, in 2018, she pursued for the Master of Law.
Master
As
of Law.
Chani said, pursue your education for a wider world.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, that's right.
So education plays an important part in life, and this is why many are pursuing the best education they could get. It's safe to say many are banking on good academic background to improve their quality of life and get better opportunities as well. And governments around the world are well aware of how a good education could help shape civic-minded citizens and improve their competitiveness on a global stage. Thus, many are deeply invested in this particular sector. Hence, in the following coverage, we will take a look at some countries with the best educational system.
The first one is Finland, a country on the tip of Europe. The education system here is very unique. Here, students can expect a range of benefits from free tuition fees, the absence of uniforms and national exams, to a relaxed and informal learning atmosphere. Despite this, Finland is actually one of the best countries in the world in terms of education. The country boasts a high literacy, understanding, and graduation rates, especially in the fields of science and math. In addition, it has spawned numerous experts and scholars who share their knowledge and expertise in many countries. Next up is England. The names of world-class higher learning institutions like Oxford, Cambridge, University College London, and many others cemented England's status as a country with top educational system in fields ranging from medicine, science, astronomy, history, sports, to the arts. UK universities are the main target of many students around the world. There are many teaching staffs who are very skilled in their fields, ranging from professors, doctors, art experts, astronomers, aviation experts, to professional athletes. Beside Finland and England, Germany is also included in the list of countries that have the best educational quality in the world. There are many students from all over the world who apply to study in Germany. They typically enroll in advanced majors such as specialist medicine, automotive, mechanical engineering, eurotechnical science, and shipbuilding. In this country, compulsory education begins from age 6 and continues to secondary level. Education is provided free of charge and citizens do not have to worry about tuition costs.